Hello there, my friends. Welcome to the Glow Up Method. This is the place where we talk all things transformation, self-help, self-improvement, really a lot about yourselves. But I think that that's the key foundation into how we can go into this world in a way in which that makes us proud. So my name is Natasha, and I am super excited to be here with you today as we talk about a subject that has been really controversial for me. So this subject is decision making a choice, deciding to do something. For so freaking long, I have sat there in indecisiveness, trying to get things right, trying to be perfect, trying to people please, trying to anticipate what was happen, worrying about what would people think, what will people do, what will happen. All this crud was holding me back from living this life that I'm proud of. And it wasn't even about living the life I'm proud of. It was like holding me back from even investigating, from even exploring and seeing. Just because I was going to sit down and sit here and record, there was no guarantees anyone would listen, anyone would care. But that's not what it was about. It was about moving forward and figuring out, just by doing something, what is working, what isn't working. Is this something I actually like doing? You know, just sitting there and running scenarios in my head and worrying about the implications. Would anybody tune in? Would anyone care? For so many years until 2024, I didn't do those, like for instance, this, right? It had came in my mind. I had talked about recently, I was talking to you guys about how my uncle was my guru and he would do these lessons with me. And so it was almost like he was a professor of life. I had this really cool one-on-one mentor and guru that had taken me under his wing and really enlightened me to so many different philosophies, theories, and just plain possibilities of this life I'm living. I was so ingrained in my default settings that everything he was saying initially seemed so far-fetched and so unrealistic for me in my life. And one of the things during his lessons, he's like, this would be great. He was a huge YouTube consumer, just because he loved knowledge, and you know, he had his few favorite YouTubers and content creators, but he also would always explore other people and, you know, different topic matters. And so I really appreciated that about him. And so he would say, like, wouldn't that be great if we sat here and recorded? And me, with all my insecurities, was like, I'm overweight. I don't want people to see me this way and make fun of me. That their house sometimes has some hoarding, and I don't want them to make judgment on the way in which he's living, you know, all these things. And I was like, and quite honestly, would anyone care about this subject matter? So I was so focused on all these things, these external factors that didn't matter, despite the fact that inside something connected with me. And I was like, yeah, that would be a lot of fun. Not only would that be fun, like, you know, what a unique approach. Here it is, this uncle, this mentor, this really, really cool and wise guy that has had these amazing life experiences, and I are connecting once a week. But now I would have had this legacy in which I could go back and rewatch things, right? Because I took thorough notes, and I really also wanted to not be absorbed in the note-taking process all the time. Like, I was really listening. And so, of course, my memory is really good, but it is only so, you know, good as, you know, I don't know what, but it's limited. It didn't remember everything verbatim, and there's some fog in there, right? I didn't remember every single lesson. And even I was writing so fast, when I go back to my journals that I have filled with his lessons, some of the writing is messy and I can't even read it. So what a gift this would have been had I just moved out the freaking way from myself, right? I'm sitting here so consumed with the world thought that I didn't take action. And, you know, I don't like to live with regrets. And so, yeah, there is a little bit of regret there. But on the contrary, now I'd like to make that different, right? I like to be a part of the solution. So it's not really a regret. You know, it was a decision I made, and the decision was based on, you know, a lot of things that to me today don't really matter. And really mattered a lot to me then. So I think for me, it wasn't a mistake, but it was a huge lesson. And so last night there was a conversation, and, like I said, my kids are suddenly like all these content creators. My oldest son, Brad, he has two channels. He's operating NFL Brad Zone for fantasy football, and he's operating 49er Walter Picks for fantasy football. He loves it. I have my son, Dylan, who, as we've talked about on here, my ACL kid, who has, all of his Adidas FIFA or Adidas FC, because the game had changed. So now it's, FC and, whatever. So he's Adidas FIFA or Adidas FC, but he's got his Twitch, his TikTok, YouTube, all these things that he's X and all those things going. I have my daughter, who is so passionate about holidays and decorating, and especially Christmas. Of course, it's a no-brainer that she has a Christmas themed TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you name it, and is, pushing out daily content for that. My young one, who I have always thought would be the content creator of us all, because literally, right, he was just born into content creation and TikToks and YouTubes and all these reels and all these things, that he is the one who has not yet started posting. The one thing he did post has like over 1 million or 100,000, something crazy, like views, like went viral. But other than that, he isn't posting. He is just still currently consuming, because he's like, Mom, what do I have time? I have so much stuff going on, which is true. I throw him a bone, I allow it, but I think of us all like combined, I think he would honestly be the best content creator, like I said, of us all combined, because it's his default setting. We over here, especially, an old dog like me, is like trying to learn on the fly, right? So, but my kids were in here, and, like, I will go in and I'll like their things, and I'll send it on occasion to a sibling, and, being a part of that support system, right? Like, if anything, I'm here, I'm your mom, I want to see what you're doing. It's like watching you on the, when you're competing for cheer. It's like watching you when you played softball. It's like watching you when you played soccer. It's like watching when you play baseball, whatever your events were. Maybe you were in a play or a musician or whatever. So for me, watching their content is much like that. It's like this sense of, wow, they did this on their own. Like, this is pretty cool. Here's this. And so recently there was a conversation about, oh my gosh, we have to go watch your stuff. And I was like, no, please don't. Like, I don't need you to watch my stuff. Like, it'll grow, like, again, I'm not really comfortable being in this position where somebody's like necessarily like supporting me. Like, I didn't have that. And so, like, I'm like, no, like, there's no reason to watch it. Like, eventually in your lifetime, you guys are busy. You don't have an hour or half an hour, because at the beginning ones, these are all an hour. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, everybody. But, it will get back down to a reasonable, 30 minutes, and listening at 2 times speed, it's 15 minutes. You got 15 minutes. Come on now. I talk fast, but not that fast. You can still follow along. Yeah, so I'm like, no, you don't have to, like, don't do that or whatever. And now, but like, now you make us more curious that you don't want us to watch. I'm like, no, like, don't, watch it. It's just not necessary. But here's the thing. As you get older, and hopefully, all these, platforms, or there's a backup or something like that, because I'm deleting my videos after I've posted them, because I only have so much phone space, right? But I'm like, at some point and someday in your lifetime, maybe watch it, right? Like, just doesn't have to be now or today. Like, there's no need. Like, I'm not tripping on the views. It's not making me sad that, I'm very grateful that I have like 50 plus followers. Where the heck are you finding this business? Like, that's so cool. And I have likes, and I have people that have watched it. And so I'm like, I am super grateful for anything, and I'm appreciative of it all. Like, it's so cool to me, like, that, here I am. And again, I had this whole like thing in my mind, like, okay, I can't post until after I get back from the cruise and all this stuff. But I'm so glad I had the epiphany, like, get it done now. Stop procrastinating. What are we waiting for? 1 year's worth of content? That's a lot to catch up on. So I'm really excited to have these plans and these things going. And where did it all begin? It began with a decision. I needed to decide that very first day, and every day I've done it since, that this is what I want to do. And at any day, I can say I don't want to do this anymore. I still have that option, that possibility is still there. And maybe I outgrow it. Maybe it outgrows me. Whatever that may be, I have that power. For now, I am loving this. It is this beautiful place where I find healing, and I love sharing the stories because I know that people are connecting with them. And that makes me feel really proud of my life. I feel very proud that in the ways that I possibly can without overextending myself, I'm able to help others. I'm able to maybe inspire somebody to begin their own health journey. And maybe they have tried medications, and maybe they have tried diets, and maybe they have tried surgeries and they failed. I've known people that have done all three and not worked, and then felt like there was no option for them. And so, of course, big pharma, insurance companies, diet, manufacturing company, whatever, like diet companies or whatever. Of course, they want you to believe that diet, medications, and surgery are optimal options. And they are. There is no shade or shame to anyone who chooses to go that route or has no other choice but to go this route because nothing else has worked. That's the beauty of it, is there is something for everyone. And at the bottom line for me is deciding, I want my health. I want my life back. And I also do not want to feel deprived. And I also do not want to go under the knife for this. And I also do not want to commit to a short span or a long span of medications that are going to cost me a lot. And I don't know what the cost is going to be on my body. And I also am too damn cheap to go and join a Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, whatever those other big diet programs are. Although I believe that the support, the community, the research that's gone into these things, I do believe there are benefits. And I'm so happy for the people that have found it that need it. And I'm just here to say is it doesn't have to be that way. There is this option for behind closed door number 4, right? Like there is an alternative. It takes a lot of work. It takes patience. It takes consistency, it takes discipline, and it takes habits, and it's creating habits. And so when I sit here every day and I'm in my roundabout way tell you and show you my stories, I'm showing you consistency. When I post every day, that is the consistency I'm talking about. Even though some days you've seen I'll sit in this chair and I'm crying, some days I'm laughing, and some days I'm like, I'm stretching, I don't know what to say here, whatever it is, I'm still showing up. I show up for me, and I'm showing up for you. And that's the same premise for any change you want in your life. But what is it that begins it all? Is it just changing all of a sudden? No, it's deciding. And when we decide not to do something and we don't make a decision, we're kind of making a decision too. But making a decision that really aligns with us. And even though we don't know how to get to that outcome, even though we don't know how it's going to end, just making the decision and keeping it small, right? I want to be healthy. Like I'm deciding to be healthy. And that's a decision. Those small decisions too, like sometimes it's like, oh, I'm deciding to take a European trip, right? That's a huge decision. I'm deciding to get a divorce. Huge decision. I am deciding to change my career. Big, huge decision. But it's not always about the big decisions. It's those little decisions you make every single day on a consistent basis. It's the decision to meditate or not. It's the decision to get up when your alarm clock goes up or not. It's the decision to make your bed or not. It's the decision to use your right hand and yell at your kids when they leave dishes in the sink. Or it's the decision to use that left hand and say, okay, let's brainstorm this again. It's the decision to go for the walk when you're really tired. It's that decision to say, okay, this walk is not going to be 10,000 steps, but it may be 10. And that counts too. So it's all about those little decisions we're making that build upon one another. It builds confidence. It builds faith. And like I said, I've been taking a little bit of an abridged rest, right? And so that means I've put my steps down to 10,000. I am doing the bare minimum limited of classes. I am laying in bed a little bit more. I am finding ways to nurture myself, whether it be taking an Epsom salt bath or doing a massage thing, putting some ice on it. Like I am, putting on some Tiger Balm. Like I am also on the same turn, working with working with getting approvals for physical therapy, working with approvals to get to the hip specialist, to really get to the bottom of this. So this isn't a reoccurring thing because I want to use my body in the ways in which I want to use it. And I think I deserve that. I've worked really hard. And if there's something in there that we're missing, that's being compressed or whatever it is, that's causing me pain, let's work on this. So that's a decision. And my decision is, yeah, some days it's sad that like maybe I can't go full out in a class in the way I'd want to. But like today, it was like I would just stop and I was just moving what I could in a way that was healthy and respectful to my body. I didn't care what anybody else was thinking, I have to understand I only feel what I'm feeling in my body. And this workout, it's about me at the end of the day. It's about challenging myself. And so for me, it's really important to make those decisions and have the flexibility to say, where am I at today? Like where I was at yesterday or where I was at 6 weeks ago or where I'm at tomorrow will always look different. Where am I today? What are my life circumstances? Did I get good sleep? Did I get good nutrition? Did I get, am I stressed out about something? Am I hurting? Only I know. And then I although I'm a regimented person where I'm like, here's what I have to do each day, it doesn't mean it needs to be done in this exact perfect way day in and day out. It means it can ebb and flow. It means some days I might do 30,000 steps, whereas another day I might do 5. If my body could only do 5, that's okay too. But I'm 20 is a little bit too much right now on the injury and with my time schedule. So I'm down to 10 and it's fine. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Anytime I could go back up to the 20, but I want to take things slow. I want to honor my body. That is my decision is for so many years, I beat the crap out of myself mentally and emotionally, right? Nobody could see necessarily the abuse that I was inflicting on myself internally, except for probably it had some major, obvious red flags on the exterior too. But then I began this process of almost beating myself up physically. And I'm so accustomed to pain. My pain tolerance is really high. But I think that this is the part of the journey in which the nurturing needs to be reminded. And there are moments I nurture myself so much more than I did, right? The scalp massaging, the dry brushing, the meditation, the calm walks in nature, just taking time to moisturize, the hair masks. Like I definitely have become way more nurturing of myself in so many ways, but I also still do push myself beyond my limits at a time. And so I think it's really important to make that decision and say, it's okay. Like I don't need to beat myself up every day. It doesn't mean I'm not healthy, and it doesn't mean I'm, a failure, and it doesn't mean I'm not good. It doesn't mean any of that. And so I'm really glad that conversation isn't coming up where it's like you're a failure. I get really stuck in my ways. I go 110%, and that becomes the norm. And sometimes life comes and it's like, you got to slow down a little bit today. And so really honoring where you are in your journey on each particular day, because it's different. Whatever's happening in your lifestyle, with your kids, your work, your significant others, your friends, your community, and it has an impact on you. Your environment does impact you. But we want to mitigate how it affects us and not have it be the defining decision maker in our lives. Like I said, so many reasons. I gave you the YouTube example and my delay and my reasons why I didn't want to put myself out there with my uncle was, for all those reasons, which at that time were valid, I guess, right? Like I'm not going to be mad about my decisions I made, but there is that sense of a loss. There was this potential to have this legacy, if nothing else, right? Like beyond anything, just bare bottoms. What I'm sad about is not that, we could have, by then I could have had somebody. I literally doesn't cross my mind. What makes me sad is this legacy opportunity, this opportunity to have this wisdom and this knowledge that I could go back to over and over and over again as I seemed fit. And I let myself get in the way. And so now I am no longer stuck. If there's something I want to try, if there's something I want to do, I don't have that fear. I keep encouraging my kids, reach out to the people, reach out and do things, because for so long I lived within the fear. And if there was somebody I want to connect with, I've reached out to like really high named, personal development, self-improvement people. I haven't gotten a response back, but it doesn't hurt my feelings. Like, I just don't feel sad about it. And it doesn't mean I'm not going to reach out again. It just means just didn't answer right now. That's fine. And, because I just want to say thank you to them. Like, this is it. The bottom line is thank you, because each person that I have listened to, each person that has put their self out there, they've touched me. If they haven't touched anybody else, which of course they have, they touched me. They were like as important in some ways as my Uncle Jerry. He may have been a very consistent guru and mentor, but at different stages of my life, each one of these people, Brene Brown, Mel Robbins, Tony Robbins, Ferris, like all of these people, Goggins, like they have all influenced my life. Their stories impacted me and made me realize I'm not that bad of a person. It made me realize that you can go through challenges and you can overcome certain things that you believe about yourself, and you can rewrite your own story. And I can't rewrite the past, but I can rewrite the future, and I can rewrite my right now, but my present right now, what's happening in this very moment. And so a lot of times there's decisions that I'm like, do I do this or not? I mean, you sat here and saw me, and I don't know if I haven't gotten to that part of the phase of the rewatching. But there was a struggle for years. I mean, probably forever, but since 2020 on, it was a really pressing struggle to stay or not to stay in a marriage with Chris. And of course, I'm a pros and cons. Here's the pros, here's the cons. And I really would sit down and analyze and think about it and give chances and let's do therapy and all these things. But inside, something always felt off. Something always, like my intuition was like, very grateful that I at least put in the attempt, because there's never going to be a question that like, what if we would have just tried? What if we would have went to therapy? What if we went on dates? What if we, went out places and did stuff? What if we were kind to each other? What if we just started over? I know that answer. We did that. And so there isn't any form of regret. Of course, there's sorrow. There's absolute sorrow about the demise of this family unit in the traditional sense. But I also have a lot of hope that when, more time passes, that we are friends and we are co-parents and we can be in the same room with one another and it not be hostile. That's my hope. That's my promise. I don't want him to be feeling any anger or resentment towards me, and I don't want to feel it towards him. I mean, I really try not to. I go to the grocery store and still pick him up his favorite goodie, nuts and sausages and things that he likes to eat, because he's a person, he's a human, and he deserves, my kindness too. And just because our relationship is not going to go, in the future in the way in which, we had committed to back in 1999, it doesn't mean I can't be kind to him. It doesn't mean I can't advocate for myself. So these decisions, when I'm standing there and it's like, do I be kind and buy him something he likes? Yeah, like for me, that's what feels good. So I think making decisions is a really critical part. It's the number one thing. We have to choose to change. We have to decide that this is no longer the way I want to live. And so, I am very, very famous for having like a long drawn out process with the decisions. People around me are not a fan of it. Like they want it and they want it now. My daughter had, talked to me. She's like, I have 3 proposals. And, it took me a couple weeks to think them over, nestle them in. Whereas before it was like, wait, she has 3 proposals. I better say yes to one of them. Quite honestly, none of the proposals worked with me. And here were my compromises. Here were my, let's, meet in the middle kind of things. And I think that that's critical for my journey. Now, I understand from her perspective, like she may feel unsupported, that I'm not listening or whatever, but I'm very aware and I'm really listening to her situation, but I also need to honor everything in a bigger picture. And I'm not going to jump to haste just to try to make you like me, to try to make you feel less uncomfortable. I have to do what's best for me, and I have to do what's best for my family as an entirety and not just one individual. And so whoever it is, whether it be her, whether it be, you know, Dylan, Tyler, Brad, Chris, myself, you know, I'm really open-minded, but I'm no longer operating in a place of this fear of abandonment, this fear that you're going to leave me if I don't do exactly what you want to do. And I've been around enough people that I have been, you know, put my back against the wall and was like, if you do not do this, then I'm leaving you. And I'm at the point where I'm like, that's okay. I'm okay with us not having a relationship if this is what is the deciding factor, because if it's not now, it's gonna be in the future. And my door is open. I will always love you. I will always care, but I am not going to put myself in a situation that doesn't align with me just so that you feel better. And then quite honestly, it shows your true colors if you still don't want to be my friend because I'm not doing what you want me to do that benefits you and does not benefit me. And so, you know, I get that. And then, of course, everybody's entitled to their own opinions and their own decisions, and I honor those. Like I say, I have my door open. I really am a caring person, and I think that the people that I'm meant to be around, they see that. I had the nicest lady today. She just came up to me, and again, I say these things not to be like, oh, this, but it helps remind me that in these moments where there could be this self-doubt, right? Like that right-handed thing is like, maybe they're right, right? My right hand's thinking, if they're thinking this, then it has to be true. But the thing of the matter is, it's not. You know, I had a lady come up to me unsolicited and say, do you know, like, your energy is rare. You are just such a phenomenal person. And all she does is see me once or twice a week in a gym. Dance, we, you know, we giggle, we hoot and holler every once in a while at 7 a.m., you know, it's on a Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. And she said that, and it really made my day. Like, yes, that's what I want to be seen as. That is who I am on the inside. And I'm really glad that I have gotten out of my way. I've decided to get out of my own way and not care who's watching and just be me. And the people that get me will get me. And the people that don't, they won't. And that's okay. Like, everybody is there's somebody for everybody. And I'm going to be for some people, and somebody else may be for somebody else. And like, I might just, you know, whatever. Like, that's not my worry. Just like some people, I don't necessarily vibe with either. Like, I'm not perfect. Not that I wish you any harm or anything. You wouldn't be my first pick to go out to have a dinner and like, let me pick your brain and, you know, listen to my stories ramble on. But there are some people that are really cool out there. Again, I need to just shout out my friend who is my loyal, my like legit. I get so excited every time I see your name pop up on my email, and I'm like, okay, I cannot wait to sit down and read this, because I really, like I said, I really want to give it my 100% attention and respond in a meaningful way, because I know the time that you're taking to not only consume this, but also to apply it to your own life, and then also to comment on it. I mean, you've just gone above and beyond. And so my special friend who comments on everything, I adore you. I thank you so much. And I love that you are deciding to do something for you, even if it is just listening to me. And I love that you're deciding to have the courage to interact with me. I think that that is just so rad, because for so long, I used to sit there and think like, nobody cares what I have to say. Nobody, you know, all these things, like I wouldn't have had the courage to make that comment on there. And I love it. And I love you. I appreciate you so much from the bottom of my heart. And I really just hope that out there today, you guys decide. So if there's been something that you're sitting on, especially if it's a little decision, make the decision. There are no wrong answers. You sitting stuck is just holding yourself back. Make a decision. It's a yes or a no. Is it a yes or a no? And then if it's a yes, get into it. Or if it's a no, like, stop doing that. Stop thinking about it. Get the decisions made. And start small so that you build that confidence and that courage that it's okay to make a decision. And it's okay if people don't like every decision I make. But as long as I can go to bed tonight and I can feel peace with my decision, I didn't do anything wrong. So I say all this to say, please go out there today. Give somebody a big smile. give them a compliment, and just watch how they glow up. So thank you. Bye.